Welcome everybody. I hope this works. I'm kind of not used to that. I'm a draftsman, a drawing artist, and I draw to, let's say, to experience the urban space or also to become part of the city while I draw. I usually take a pen and a booklet or a larger paper and find myself a nice spot in the city and then start to draw. Often I finish one drawing in one go. Sometimes it takes me 2 days, 2 periods or so. But I do the drawing on site and I mainly work with black line on white paper. And I draw because I want to tell stories, I guess. And the drawing itself to me is a story how the line makes his path through the white paper, and this picture here, like, or this loop here, demonstrates this a bit. I'm gonna lead through my website where I publish most of my drawings, and my website is structured in that way that each project gets a number. And one way to surf through my site is then to go project by project, but then there are also other routes from one project to another project. And originally I was not so much into the city. I wasn't so interested into documenting the city, but to tell stories, to make comics. And this is one of my first projects, number 3, where I worked on my experience of hitchhiking. And I had friends standing model for me, and like Philip, for example, and then holding the board for me, and being my characters, but I needed backgrounds, and that's how I ended up sitting on the street, sitting there for hours and drawing these backgrounds. So this is like my earlier work where I was more interested in straightforward stories or in linear stories. But then the drawing on situ, the drawing on the street got way more important than the comics I wanted to tell. And so I kept on drawing, I guess. Roaming around in Zurich first and draw what I see, and being details or bigger pictures. A way to I also like this mapping way to organize my drawings, to give you as a viewer your own route, to let you make your own route. And I was also started to work with making parts of the picture transparent, to make the drawings intermingle more with each other. Feel free also, anytime you have a question, feel free to ask. I way more like it to give answers than to talk just into. And this is Zurich where I'm based, so it's quite dense, my drawing research, but then I also went to other places. In Lausanne, I only did one drawing so far. Then one of my, or the last city I spent some time to draw was Berlin. And yeah. So when I draw architecture, I'm interested more in like in the urban scape or in the whole thing working together, and architecture and their traces, and vandalism on architecture, and how people use it differently. And when I sit there for hours, I experience the city also quite in a different way than when I just pass through. You can also probably know the difference, like if you take a bicycle to transport through the city, or if you walk, it's a completely different experience. And when you rest for hours at the same spot, and when you focus on this, like it's quite of a reduction, you just have this one view and you keep on looking to your view and back to the pager, to the page, then it's even more different experience of going much more into the sounds of a city, and of having exchange with the people who work in the same speed or the same pace on the city. Then it's more like beggars or cleaners or people waiting for jobs on the street, like. Let's see if it's there. Yeah.
When you draw, as it's a kind of picture of an instant of a specific moment.
Yeah.
When you stay for a very long time on that same spot, is there something in your drawing that we feel that time passed and that your drawing is maybe, I don't know, more
Yeah, yeah. There is hardly any people in my drawings because they're too quick for my work. So only if they come really small, and then I manage to catch them. And other elements too are really or tricky to draw, like cars, parked cars. They can leave any second, and so it's, even though my approach is quite photographic, that I want to fill the page to its borders. It's a different time. Yeah, I don't work so much with the sun and the shadow, and when a car is parked and then leaves, and then the next car parks, then sometimes I mix these two cars. Or yeah, or if the car leaves, I wait to maybe another car is coming and parking similar, so I can continue my drawing. And so it's, yeah, it's like another way. It's like a compromise, or like. But yeah.
You spend a long time choosing your spot.
Mm, both. It's difficult. Like sometimes, yeah, I walk, but then after 1 hour of walking, then I feel like I just need to draw something. And sometimes it's not so particular what I draw. It's not so important. Sometimes it's more the seat I'm taking or that I'm drawing, and I like this strategy in a way that it makes room for randomness. Otherwise, I also tend up to do the same picture constructure and the same density, and often I realize I'm drawing something I'm already drawn in another city.
Is there a logic in the choice of places you go?
Of the cities, visiting friends, different logics. It's not a concept. Like this Tunis was because I wanted to draw in the winter, and I didn't want to travel too far and not take a plane. And Tunis was kind of in reach with a ferry. At the same time, I was working for a panorama in Thun, and it was just going south, straight south at this time. Other times I visit friends, like there's some drawings from Pakistan, I visited a friend, or like now in Berlin, I just liked too much of graffitis in this city. Then that's the reason why I wanted to go back. Yeah. So I structure the drawings in a way, or I have this collection through the map. But myself, I don't use too much of a map when I'm in cities. I prefer just to walk and to make the map in my head, or also not to rely too much on, now you can have the map on your phone, but then you end up just doing the shortcuts, and I also like to wander or to stroll around. So so I also look for other ways to tell stories or to present my work. And so I also make like click through walks, or it's like in the web page shown as picture by picture. And there I also work with transparency to create also a new city. I don't really want to reproduce, like for example here Alexandria. I more take Alexandria as a starting point. And I guess it's quite a personal view.
Do you teach
At the end, I have to cheat because some details are too small for my pen, or they just don't fit in the paper. Also, I can't do everything, but I try not to cheat. Like, but I mean, what's cheating? Sometimes I don't write full lettering because I don't want to make a commercial, and sometimes I think the lettering is very important, so I bring it out. I make my decisions, and I kind of manipulate, yes, but I don't want to cheat.
But this is a very interesting question of cheating, because I think that Constable, who was doing these landscapes, he was deliberately avoiding to draw things that were for him not part of the landscape. So you don't do this deliberately. You say, no, this is not the city. I will not draw this.
No, this I don't do. No. No, it's more like I have to be honest. But if it's Coca-Cola for the third time, and then I maybe just draw the sea, or oh, this one is similar. So these are more like experiences in cities. Then another project I did was more for like a construction site, or for a building that wasn't built yet. More like a spot in the neighborhood. It's also the density or the different layering. It's also what I like so much about big cities. Yeah, it's overwhelming too much. Yep.
When you do the moving picture, how do you think about them when you're on site? Do you see it like in front of you, how you're going to put them together? And I guess that's done afterwards.
That's afterwards.
Yeah. Do you have any thought of it?
But when I film my drawing, like in the intro, then I know that I'm filming, and then I try to make a bit of a story while I draw. So, but then it's just elements I later combine or play around, or yeah. And it's also a way for me to not just to become city or to live in the city, but also to this is wrong. To take the city into myself, or to get to know the city. It's a bit easier to say. So, for example, 2 years ago, I've been invited by a publisher to do a book on Dominican Republic and Haiti, the island. And I've never been there. I just was felt very honored to be invited by a stranger to do a book also from so far away. And so he organized a kind of a residency for me, and with the goal to produce a book for the new little publishing house. And that's, for example, then the book that came out of this project. Here it's still traveling, flying, getting there to New York first, and then continue. there then also comes another theme of my work, which comes again and again, which is traveling or journey. Besides the urban space, or mainly through the urban space. Now it actually switched the country. Yeah. The original drawing is just matter I then cut freely. So for the books, I inevitably have to cut one size often. I prefer the picture going all the way to the corner, so it opens up more illusion. Yeah. To color the pictures. Usually it's sufficient. This black and white. I also like the closeness to the printed letter, and this more signal character. But yeah, recently I also started with colors, but then yeah, it's another approach, and it's not. It's I take longer and yeah. Yeah.
What do you group as first when you draw the scene, like urban scene? Is it first the strong lines, or first, for example, what is closer to you and then further, or details, less detail to?
I have to start more with details with elements in the front, because I have the 3D space, and I'm bringing it on flat paper, and when I have to do the flat picture with starting from the front backwards, so I can arrange things again, and also because I'm never really super exact, then I can look behind the object and see more details, more information from my drawing. That's also why I can't work from photography, because it's too flat already. I need this space. Besides, it would be really boring. Just reproduce the flat thing. Yeah.
I wonder whether you could regard this as being like a graphic novel about the city in some way.
Yeah, it could be.
Line in it, but this is reading like a visual novel, a graphic novel.
I'm heavily influenced by graphic novels, I'd say, and it gets these moments where it's a bit more story, and then it's losing it a bit more. As like this is structured with this journey getting to the island, and now, for example, we're just about to leave the big city, Santo Domingo, the capital, and getting to the border for the other country on the same island. But I also like that it's not such a linear story, that you can leave backwards or you can start in the middle, and it's more an accumulation of drawings, and then you can dive into this world. And so. And another way is also that or something further, is that then I also work with the drawings in on-site or in exhibitions, and try also to reproduce this let's say, poetry of a city in my work, or and then make new poems out of the city. And for example, here I did a little animation on in the public space, and the animation is a 1-minute loop that is about the neighborhood, or is drawn with the elements from the neighborhood. And it was a co-work with a Swiss poet rapper with Pixies. So she will talk in dialect, and my drawings react on her, or she reacts on me. And it was shown here like in a mini screen loop for 3 months non-stop. And that was the movie.
Jedes alte Neu wird zum neuen Alt, zum neuen Neu, ohne Halt. Alles, was du siehst, ob fokussiert oder im Augenwinkel, ob unscharf oder mit Augenzwinkern, ist dies. Alles, was du wahrnimmst, ist dies. Von dieser einzigen Perspektive ist auch meins. Von dem einen Winkel, das sind 360 Grad, 360 Mal. Du drehst dich, alles dreht sich um dich. Das ist Hilfe im Sinnbild, ewiges Fest ohne Winde. Du brauchst einen Ort, wo es still ist, wo es findet. Aha. Im Auge vom Orkan tut es, als ob es nicht tut, tut es, als ob nicht wäre. Aha. Alles bleibt im Ungefähr, alles bleibt unklar. Im toten Winkel ist es, als ob du nicht wärst, als wärst du niemand. Und niemand wär dich. Jedes alte Neu wird zum neuen Alt, zum neuen Neu, ohne Halt. Alles, was du siehst, ob fokussiert oder im Augenwinkel, ob unscharf oder mit Augenzwinkern, ist dies. Alles, was du wahrnimmst, ist dies. Von dieser einzigen Perspektive ist auch meins. Von dem einen Winkel, das sind 360 Grad, 360 Mal. Du drehst dich, alles dreht sich um dich.
And here also with video, then I really like to work in loops. It gives me another structure, and it's similar to a book where I can leave forwards and backwards. Or it's too much to see it in one go, so you can watch it 3 times, and there's no clear beginning and no clear end. And so then I thought a bit more general, like why do I draw cities, or why do I draw architecture, or why is architecture such a big part of my work, even though I did not really intend it, but now I get like invited to places like here, or architects in general seem to be quite interested in my work. And one is because architecture is just a very important part of city, and I'm interested in the culture of city, and therefore also especially on the traces on the architecture. And my experience of drawing the buildings is mainly through, or often, mainly, it's like lots of ornaments and patterns and details. And if a building is, in generally, like if the building is too new, then it's too boring to draw it, or like and if it's too straight, it's not fun to draw. And I, as my work is also, I get really lost in details often, and then I walk a city again, and I see a little detail on a building, and I think like, somehow looks familiar, but I don't really know the street or so, and then after 50 meters I realized, oh, I've been drawing that building from another angle, and the ornament I was seeing here was there as well, and so I have kind of a strange relationship to buildings. And I'd say it's a bit of, yeah, it just ends up also a bit of on a reflection on architecture, my drawing, as it lacks the room, the space, the spatial experience. And yeah, still is a form, a shape, but yeah, it's in another sphere than experiencing the actual 3D space, which is your work or so. Which, yeah. So I think this is kind of the end, or you can ask me more.
Thank you very much. But you already offer us the possibility of asking questions, but maybe still have more questions. If not, thank you very much. Bravo.